Are you concerned? We've already got this Iraq war going on now for the 5th year that was pushed by elements in the Neocon community like William Kristol, Douglas Fife, and others, Wolfowitz. Are you concerned that we're also going to have a war with Iran, that this group, AIPAC, is pushing that, or people in AIPAC?
There's a confluence of interests with regard to Israel, AIPAC, and the Neocon agenda, and we have seen that played out with the Iraq war. Right now, AIPAC is promoting a divestment campaign against Iran and other activities directed against Iran, heating up the rhetoric and promoting and encouraging U.S. politicians of both parties to take a negative view with Iran, and this is deeply concerning because we've seen what happened with Iraq. We were led into this Neocon war that benefited Israel, and now once again this agenda is being directed at Iran, and it's deeply concerning.
As an American, when you see these leaders of the Congress, Republican and Democrat, as you mentioned, show up at these affairs and they say the most hawkish kind of statements, are you concerned about that? And what does that mean for our republic? What is it when this foreign lobby can have that kind of a dominance?
Yeah, it's astonishing to me that one group, one lobbying pack can draw all of these politicians, as I said, from across the political spectrum, from both political parties, and it's almost like they're going to an altar tonight to worship the power and influence of this political organization that is promoting things that are not in the interest of the United States.
Well, I think you're probably familiar with Professor Mearsheimer and Professor Walt's book, and they said the same thing, that they have an undue influence over our foreign policy. Do you think we're going to live to see the end of this, that someday somebody is going to say something, or the labor movement, or somebody's going to check these guys?
Well, I think it's possible, but only when Americans can change the climate of the conversations we have about Israel. We have to say that one country cannot influence the foreign and military policy of our republic the way AIPAC on behalf of Israel has done. And the conversation is shut down in the United States. Anyone who raises any type of criticism about Israel is considered to be anti-Semitic, or if they're Jewish, they're considered a self-hating Jew. And so with that type of a climate, the national conversation gets shut down.
Okay, anything else, Malachy?
Let us all work for justice for the Palestinians and peace for all of the people of the Middle East, Iraq, Iran, and the whole world.
Okay, thank you, Malachy. All right, can you give me your name, sir?
Yes, hello. My name's Eric Andersen. I'm a long-term resident of Washington, D.C., and we're here in front of the Convention Center here in Washington, D.C. to protest the American-Israeli Political Action Committee. We oppose the American-Israeli Political Action Committee because of their undue influence on our government. These people do not represent the majority of the Israeli people. Our Israeli brothers and sisters, I want to send a shout out to them because the majority of people are for a peaceful solution to the Palestinian-Israeli crisis. But we are here to oppose these people, which represent the right wing, the Likud party. They're like our neocons. They're the Israeli George Bush, the Israeli Dick Cheney that are out here today. The big money people that have undue influence on our government, that influence our government to start wars and to occupy the Middle East, which is really, in my view, their goal is to have the United States occupy the Middle East in perpetuity. That's the idea.
Are you afraid, Eric, that this group is going to support a war against Iran?
Oh yes, they've been explicit about it. They support a war against Iran. They have nuclear missiles. They've had nuclear missiles since the nuclear weapons since the 60s. Okay, they regularly threaten their neighbors. So, yes, they want America to go in and carry their water for them in the Middle East. Okay, and they have the money. They have the influence. If you listen to the radio today, you heard John McCain down on his knees polishing their shoes today. It's disgraceful how America subverts its own interest to the interest of the Israeli lobby. Okay, and I want to shout out to all our brothers and sisters at Gush Shalom and the other Israeli peace groups that are out there.
Okay, thanks so much, Eric. What's your name?
Keren Batiyov.
And Karen, what are you doing here tonight at this AIPAC convention, standing outside?
Well, I'm Jewish, and I place myself in the prophetic tradition of Judaism that says that we're obligated to stand for and with the oppressed, whoever they are and wherever they are. I take those tenets very seriously, and I believe that the Palestinians have a right to exist just as much as Israelis have a right to exist. I'm not talking about a state here. States do not have rights to exist.
Are you concerned, Karen, that if this thing continues, I mean, it's been going on and on now for God knows how long, that there's going to be a reaction somewhere along the line? Somebody's going to say, we've had enough of this. Are you concerned as a Jew about that? Like, at some point, people are going to get fed up with it?
Absolutely. This is something I've talked about with my friends since the late 90s when I really became aware of what was going on and started doing the research. There's going to be a blowback someday on all Jews because of the policies of Zionism, which is not Judaism. Judaism is a religious faith. It is a religious commitment. Zionism is a political ideology, and to conflate the two is entirely wrong. In fact, one of the Israeli ambassadors to the United States, I believe this was back in the 60s, when he returned to Israel, he was asked what his greatest accomplishment was, and he said getting Americans to believe that Zionism equals Judaism.
What a profound statement in a way, you know, that's what they've been trying to sell, and I just talked to Rabbi Weiss about that,
yes.
And that's his position too, that they aren't equal, and that somehow they've been able to sell that to the American people.
Right.
Now, talking about what about these American politicians? You know, they're going to be over here bowing down and saying and making the most hawkish statements. Does that concern you, especially with Iran coming up? You know, they're targeting Iran.
Absolutely, because I believe elected officials are supposed to be representatives of the people. I also believe that they're supposed to be interested in serving the people and maintaining morality and ethics. All I see in our Congress and in this administration, all of the U.S. administrations, is an interest in power and being reelected. And since AIPAC makes it very clear that they will fund those very generously who support Israel, right or wrong, then of course it does concern me. And I want to add to that, is Israel right or wrong? From a Jewish perspective, as Jews, we're taught to question everything, even to the point it's demanded that we argue with God and wrestle with God. And Israel actually means God wrestler. So what does it say about our Jewish community when it's okay to argue with God and wrestle with God, but we're not supposed to argue with the policies of the state of Israel? That's pure idolatry and absolutely anti-everything Jewish.
Anything else you want to say, Karen?
Rabbi Hillel said a number of years ago that which you would not want done to yourself, do not do to another person. That's straight out. I don't know how it could be any clearer.
The old golden rule, now how you put it,
Exactly.
Either way. Okay, well, thanks so much, Karen.
Thank you.